D23 was held just a few days ago, with Disney making some major announcements in their film, television, and entertainment divisions. However, the most anticipated panel for many was the Disney Experiences Showcase, which promised to announce plenty of new projects for the Disney parks. In this video, we'll be going over all of the major announcements, from Lion King at Disneyland Paris to Villains Land at the Magic Kingdom. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe as there should be plenty more D23 content in the next few days. For now though, let's get this review started with the international Disney parks. Disneyland Paris didn't get a ton of new announcements this time around, although they did get something new for their second gate, Disney Adventure World. This Lion King attraction seems to be a log flume similar to Tiana's Bayou adventure, with nearly the exact same ride system seen in concept art. It does make sense if it's the same ride system, considering Disneyland Paris doesn't have a major water ride unlike the other Disney parks. Still, I wish Disney tried something more unique for this resort, since they often seem to get the short end of the stick. Another thing that's unclear is whether this ride will be based on the animated film or the 2019 live-action remake. The concept art clearly shows the live-action version, but based on what was said on stage and shown off on the show floor, it seems it may be based on the animated film after all. I'm really hoping this is the case, as the original character designs are so much more colorful and full of life. We'll have to wait and see to know for sure, although that wait could be a long one. With Frozen not opening until 2026, it seems this attraction is quite a ways away. Still, having a water ride at this park seems to be a good call, and I'm looking forward to this resort improving in the coming years. A little further away at Shanghai Disneyland, we got a first look at a brand new Spider-Man themed roller coaster. Based on the leaked plans for this ride, this should be one of the most advanced roller coasters Disney has ever made. If it looks anything like this concept art, I think this park should be getting a top tier attraction. Hong Kong Disneyland will also be getting its own Marvel attraction, which appears to be a ground up clone of Tower of Terror. Considering this park doesn't currently have a Tower of Terror, this choice is extremely interesting for me. I'm excited to see if it has any new technology that can make it stand out from the other clones, although I might be pessimistic here and say it could basically be the same. Still, any Tower of Terror is a good Tower of Terror, even with a Marvel overlay on top. Speaking of Marvel, let's head over to the American parks to discuss Avengers Campus at California Adventure. While there were plenty of announcements made for this park at D23, this is the project that seems to be the furthest along. The biggest addition to this new expansion is Avengers Infinity Defense, a dark ride that appears to be similar to Peter Pan at Tokyo Disney Sea. This attraction will see guests joining the Avengers as they attempt to stop the evil King Thanos from wreaking havoc on the multiverse. Disney confirmed we'll be traveling to locations like Asgard, Wakanda, and New York City. If done right, this ride could be a huge draw to California Adventure. However, I'll admit I have my concerns. It's no secret this ride system seems to be fairly similar to the one found on Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure. That's a great ride system, but I do think Universal will have an advantage here because of the intensity of movement on that attraction. Disney will likely play it more safe, with less intense motion similar to what's found on the aforementioned Peter Pan at Tokyo. It could also lean a bit too heavily into the screens, but I'm hopeful that Disney will add an animatronic or two to spice things up. I am cautiously optimistic for this ride, although it is a bummer that it got downgraded from the original concept art. The other attraction in this expansion is Stark Flight Lab, which appears to be some sort of Kuka arm flat ride. Here, you'll enter a two-person pod that allows you to test out the flight patterns of multiple Marvel heroes. I'm not sure how exactly that should be achieved, as the ride seems to be mostly out in the open, but it might have some sort of audio to help convey that idea. As for the ride system, it reminds me a lot of Some of All Thrills, although this likely won't let you customize your ride experience. Even so, this is such a unique idea, and a great addition to this area of the park. Flat rides are a great way to add capacity to a land, and this seems to be a great flat ride at that. I'm excited for this expansion to begin construction next year, although that likely means we still have quite a bit to go. Especially with how long Disney takes with these kind of things, it could be another 5 years before we see this expansion come to life. That sentiment is also true for the next few rides announced for this park. For as long as Avatar has been discussed at California Adventure, I still think we have quite a bit to wait before it actually comes to life. We did get confirmation that this land will feature an advanced new boat ride, likely similar to Pirates of the Caribbean at Shanghai Disneyland. That ride uses magnets to move the boats in unique ways, which should make for an overall great attraction. The theming also looks pretty solid, being based on the newer Avatar films. I'm looking forward to see what this attraction looks like and where it could be located. The prime suspect seems to be Hollywoodland and the bus loop nearby, but it's unclear how exactly they'd fit it into that area. It could be a part of Disneyland Forward or even replacing Grizzly Falls, but ultimately this is another thing where we'll just have to wait and see. The last announcement for California Adventure was a brand new boat ride themed to Coco. While it doesn't seem like the most advanced thing out there, this to me is a perfect addition to this park. California Adventure needs more dark rides, even if they aren't the big e-tickets like Avengers and Avatar. In fact, that goes for all the Disney parks. The more new attractions we get, the better for capacity and guest experience. Hopefully, we'll see more like this added to the parks in the near future. As for this Coco ride, it was certainly a surprise, but a welcome one at that. Before we move on from the California parks, let's quickly touch on some smaller announcements made for Disneyland. First, it was revealed that Tiana's Bayou Adventure will officially open on November 15th. It'll be interesting to see all the differences between this version of the ride and the one at Magic Kingdom. It'll also be interesting to see if the ride runs any better here, which I'm hoping will be the case. This announcement also came with the news that Critter Country will be rethemed to Bayou Country, which should mean some major changes to the rest of the land. I honestly don't think this change was needed, considering there are a ton of critters in Tiana's already, but I guess it's a change they made regardless. Next, Disney also revealed a new show called Walt Disney: A Magical Life, which will feature the first ever Walt Disney animatronic. Admittedly, this feels a bit weird to me, although I could see the argument that Walt himself probably would have loved this. In any case, this new show will open in 2025, eventually rotating between this and Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. Finally, Disney also showed off a new scenario coming to Smuggler's Run in 2026. This new scene will be based on The Mandalorian and Grogu, a new film coming in the summer of 2026. It's likely the scenario will be ready by then, which should be a great upgrade that this ride has desperately needed. My major complaint with Smuggler's Run is its lack of re-rideability, so it's nice to see Disney is working on fleshing out that attraction. I'm excited to see this open at both Disneyland and Hollywood Studios. Speaking of Hollywood Studios, let's head over to the Orlando parks and discuss all the announcements made there. Starting off in Hollywood Studios, Disney announced that this park should be getting a brand new Monsters Inc. themed land in the next few years. This land will include a suspended coaster that takes guests through the door factory seen in Monsters Inc. The ride itself does look fun, although I'm a bit worried the theming won't be as great as the concept art suggests. Especially considering the model of this ride seems to be pretty compact, this may not be as big of an attraction as we all hope. The second concern I have with this ride is where it might be placed. I'll probably make a whole separate video on this topic, but right now there seems to be a few locations where this ride could go. The three options seem to be the following. One is to replace Star Wars Launch Bay and Animation Courtyard. The second is to replace Rock and Roller Coaster and Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. The third and worst option of the three is Star Wars and Muppet Vision 3D. Between the three, Animation Courtyard would be such an easy win considering there's no major attraction that they need to get rid of. In comparison, the latter two options would mean they won't be adding capacity to this park, instead just replacing things that don't need to be replaced. All that is to say, if this ride gets rid of Muppet Vision, I will be very, very sad. With construction beginning next year, hopefully we get word on where this land will be very soon. Moving on from that potentially scary news, let's quickly discuss the park that got the least amount of updates. EPCOT only got two small announcements that should improve the park in 2025. The first was the reveal that Test Track 3.0 will be opening next year, which makes sense considering the construction timeline of the last version of the ride. I'm hopeful that this should be a great addition to the park, although it's not exactly a major one. The second not-so-major announcement was that there will be a new lounge located near Spaceship Earth. It's a bit unclear whether this is open to the public or not, but I'm hopeful that it is considering they announced it at D23. This should be a nice place to relax within the park, even if it isn't anything huge. I know some people were hoping for a bit more at EPCOT, but I feel like Disney might wait a few years before putting in any more investment. I could see Coco or Inside Out coming later down the line, but it might take a while to get there. Now, let's talk about the park with the most concrete additions coming soon. Animal Kingdom has 4 new attractions coming in the next 3 years, with one surprise that I wasn't expecting. That surprise is the Zootopia show replacing It's Tough to Be a Bug, which I was almost certain would be cancelled after months of radio silence. This show will be called Zootopia Better Zoogether and is slated to open in winter 2025. If I had to guess, they'll try to sync its opening date with the release of Zootopia 2, either in late November or early December. Overall, while this isn't a huge addition to the park, it is one that seemed a long time coming, especially with how scary it's tough to be a bug can be for kids. However, the star of the show for Animal Kingdom is easily the Tropical Americas land, set to replace the former Dinoland USA. This land will feature 3 different attractions in a town called Pueblo Esperanza. The first is a carousel ride featuring carved wooden animals from iconic Disney movies. This flat ride was originally rumored to be themed to Coco, but this change could open up the possibility of a larger Coco ride at Walt Disney World in the future. As for the ride itself, it does look pretty cute, but will mostly be good for capacity at the resort. The second attraction in this land will be a ride themed to the film Encanto. Here, we'll join Mirabel and family as they discover Antonio's gift to communicate with animals. The ride system appears to be some sort of omni-mover, although it's unclear from the concept art seen here. I think a more traditional dark ride makes a lot of sense for Animal Kingdom and should help to round out the lineup. The connection to the park's theme does feel a bit forced, but I appreciate that Disney put in the effort to try and make the story about animals. That sentiment also applies to the new Indiana Jones attraction replacing Dinosaur. This ride should be a simple re-theme of Dinosaur, featuring the same ride system and general layout of the original attraction. However, it will feature a different story and theming than the other Indiana Jones rides around the world. Here, we'll follow Indiana Jones as he explores a Mayan temple in search of a mythical creature. Again, the connection to animals here seems kind of weak, but this should be an upgrade over what came before it. If you want to pay your respects to Dinosaur, Disney says construction on this ride will begin a little later than the rest of the land. As for the remainder of Dinoland USA, construction is set to start this fall, which is super exciting. While it might not be the most thematically cohesive addition, I do think this new land seems like a great addition overall. I wish it were opening a bit sooner, but 2027 isn't too much longer of a wait. Finally, let's discuss some of the most exciting additions coming to the Magic Kingdom. Before getting into the major expansions, let's quickly discuss some new stuff coming in 2025. Disney StarLight is the park's newest nighttime parade, brought to life by the magic of the Blue Fairy. I'm not really a parade person, but it's nice that Magic Kingdom is finally getting a new one to replace the Main Street Electrical Parade. This one seems to have a bit less personality to it, but hopefully I'll be proven wrong when it opens in summer 2025. Also in 2025, we'll be getting a Pirates Tavern over in Adventureland. I don't have much to say about this addition either, although I am curious where it might be located. I've heard rumors of it replacing the exit gift shop at Pirates of the Caribbean, but I could see that being pretty annoying for guests exiting the ride. Like I've said before, we'll just have to wait and see. Now though, let's take a look at what's beyond Big Thunder Mountain, or like in front of Big Thunder Mountain. This new Cars attraction seems to be taking up the former Rivers of America, which is a bummer, but something I kind of saw coming. As much as I love Tom Sawyer Island, it's never been the most popular location, and it's outdated in a variety of ways. Still, losing the river itself is a big downside. To me, this concept art just looks a bit off compared to the beautiful views you used to get of this river. I guess it's not a deal breaker, and in the end this does add some capacity, but I do wish they went with the idea of keeping part of the river still open. Anyways, as for the ride itself, I think it could be pretty fun. It's unclear whether or not this is the same ride system as Radiator Springs Racers, but even if it is, I think it could be a great ride. I'm kind of shocked this isn't just a simple clone of that ride, considering the rockwork there could have easily fit in with the current Frontierland. However, I do appreciate that Disney is trying something new here, even if it seems incredibly drastic. Disney also confirmed there would be a new attraction for kids as well, although not much is known about this ride right now. With construction beginning as soon as next year, I'm cautiously optimistic for how all this will turn out. I do wish they went in a bit of a different direction, but all things considered, this should be a popular addition. Another expansion that is sure to be popular is the upcoming Villains Land. While all they confirmed was the existence of 2 attractions and this concept art, this is easily my most anticipated new addition for the Disney parks. I wouldn't read too much into the attraction shown in the art, considering this seems to be very early in development, but even if it visually matches the tone of this art, I'm sure we're in for something big. However, that's another point I want to quickly discuss. All of this is concept art. Until we actually see dirt move and progress begin, I would take a lot of this with a grain of salt. I do think Villains Land will happen considering the fan reaction, but it's possible one or more of the other projects we've discussed gets changed or outright cancelled. I'm feeling pretty good about everything happening, but considering the timelines are so long from reveal to release, it's something where we need to be cautiously optimistic. And that's about where I am with most of this D23. Many of these announcements seem very exciting, and it's nice to see Disney throw so much at us with actual timelines for when construction will begin. Still, I just wish they did this earlier. The earliest major expansion we know about is Tropical Americas at Animal Kingdom, which won't be coming until 2027. That isn't too far all things considered, but with Epic Universe on the way, it seems like a missed opportunity to not have it done earlier. As for the rest of the announcements here, stuff like Villains Land and Avatar California Adventure could take nearly a decade to come to life, which is disappointing to hear. Regardless, I appreciate that Disney is giving us all these announcements to hold us over for when stuff is actually built. I do think they really want to put investment into these parks, but now we need to see dirt move and construction begin on all of these projects. Basically, Disney needs to put their money where their mouth is and get things done. With all that said, what did you think about this year's D23? Be sure to tell me in the comments below, and check out this video predicting the next 10 years at Walt Disney World. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all next time.